In the ancient realm of Illyria, where once the land pulsed with songlines carried on wind and fire, and where the matriarchal clans carved histories not in ink but in hair braided, beaded, and sacred, there now spread a dead hush across valleys and seas. A silence not of peace but of absence, as though the very soul of the world had been sheared away, leaving only whispers of forgotten rites, fading from stone and skin alike. Queen Lyra, sovereign of the seventh flame and last beacon of the once vibrant lineage of storm callers and dream weavers, stood atop the obsidian pinnacle of Aerith's spire, eyes closed against the void where constellations used to dance, and recalled the forbidden rite spoken only in fractured chants and secret weeping. The ceremony of the shear. A rite so primal, so binding, that its invocation fractured the last age and drove empires to ash. It demanded not war or wealth, but the surrender of identity in its rawest form. Hair, the crown of lineage, the record of bloodlines and vows, to be cut, offered, burned, and returned to wind and soil. Lyra, in desperation and trembling defiance, lit the opal flame extinct for 1,000 years and called forth the scissor moon, a spectral eclipse during which only those chosen by ancestral spirits could receive the call. Scrolls inked in ash and bound with strands of shorn priestess hair were sent by firebirds, tide elk, and dust walkers to the furthest reaches of Illyria's fractured provinces. Marshlands haunted by song wraiths, sky bridges above molten glass seas, and ice barrows where whispers froze in air. From every shadowed corner of the realm came 37 women. Not merely emissaries, but embodiments of feminine archetypes, painters and pirates, oracles and orphans, dancers and duelists, widows and warriors, each bearing a braid marked by strange dreams, sacred symbols blooming along their scalps like starlight etched in flesh. Among them walked General Kara of the Iron Vow, her black hair locked in ceremonial rings only broken in death. Lady Eru of the House of Mirrors, whose golden tresses were longer than her shadow and scented with crushed pearls. High Priestess Vani, already bald and cloaked in sea silk, silent since the burning of her daughters. Mira, a baker's daughter who spoke to crows and dreamed of fire lilies blooming from her scalp, and the Silent One, who bore no name, no voice, and whose head, etched with shimmering glyphs, radiated a serenity so potent even thunder bowed. Their meeting in the hanging gardens of roots marked the rekindling of prophecy. Beneath moonlight filtered through weeping vines, they stood barefoot in circles of salt and ember dust, and as the Silent One moved among them, painting each brow with ashes drawn from the urns of past shorn martyrs, time stilled their hair rose, floating, sensing its finality. The pilgrimage began at the breathless hour, 77 nights through lands cursed and dreaming, the thorned labyrinth where guilt bled from palms, the mirror sands where reflections whispered alternate fates, the womb of earth, a buried temple where women bathed in molten memory, seeing their entire lineage flash in blinks of light. In each place, trials wove deeper into their spirits. Kara faced her dead sister's ghost and was forced to renounce her war-taught stoicism. Eru cradled a mirror showing herself with no beauty, no lineage, just silence, and wept, surrendering. Mira was swallowed by a dream serpent and reborn hairless, breathless, glowing. The first ritual of shearing happened in the grove of mournroots, where every tree held braids from pilgrims of forgotten centuries, humming with lost songs. Vani, seated upon a throne of wind-carved bones, raised a blade made from volcanic glass and cut the last ghost fringe of her youth. Each snip resonated across the land, awakening sleeping rivers and shifting mountain peaks. Over days and rites, the women followed. Eru, surrounded by handmaidens who sang her family's saga in reverse, undid her platinum coils, let them fall like sunlight into sacrificial fire, and was crowned with a circlet of thorned silver. Kara, wounded in a battle with her shadow self in a mirror chamber, shaved her head with a blade dulled by memory, bleeding resolve and laughing through pain. Even Queen Lyra, disguised as Lee the Wanderer, revealed her truth on the night of the eclipsed fire, kneeling in rain as each woman took a lock from her mane, whispering into it a fear, a shame, a secret, until her crown lay bare and the clouds wept stars. Their bald heads were then anointed with oils made from extinct flowers, etched with glyphs from each woman's ancestral line, the mark of the blade. Before reaching the Temple of Silence, they passed the Valley of Unspoken Names, where millions of whispering spirits begged for release, and it was here that the final test came. Each woman was given a strand of hair not her own, and had to find its origin in the field of memory, learning to speak for the voiceless. The temple emerged only when the last woman succeeded. It rose from ice, carved into the mountain's heart, pulsing with silent hymns. Inside, they passed through 9 sanctums. The room of bone and birth, the chamber of mirror truths, the sanctuary of surrender, and finally, the spiral of reflection. A sacred labyrinth where every wall reflected not only the self but the self-denied, the self-destroyed, the self-unloved. Some screamed, some fell, but those who emerged did so shaven, soul laid bare, reborn. In the central chamber stood the eternal flame, pulsing beside the ash bowl. It was here the curse descended, a living beast of black hair, seething, clawing, promising power in exchange for vanity reclaimed. The women stood silent, until Mira, radiant, stepped forward and sang the lost name of the Silent One, learned not in dream but in death. Her head glowed with sigils, her body became light. The hair beast exploded into rain. Silence roared like thunder. Across the land, trees flowered, lakes sang, mountains breathed, and the sun rose with a new warmth. The women, now shaven and divine, descended the mountain in cloaks of starlight, greeted by kneeling crowds. In their wake, change surged. Girls sheared their heads in firelit ceremonies. Barbers became revered artisans of rebirth. Mothers passed down razors instead of heirlooms. Lyra dismantled the throne, creating the circle of the sheared, where one's worth was measured in truth surrendered, not wealth held. Kara trained bald shield maidens who defended not borders but the soul's quiet. Uru painted murals on the scalps of orphaned girls, each bald canvas a story. Vani guarded the temple, wordless and watchful, while Mira, now eternal Silent One, sat in the inner sanctum, bald as moonstone, her heartbeat matching that of the land. And so Illyria, once a land of pride and tangled hair, became a kingdom where baldness was beauty, where silence was wisdom, where no woman feared the blade, because they knew. To be shorn was not to be less, but to be whole. The ceremony of the shear became not a legend, but a rite of passage, a rhythm within the blood of Illyria. And every gust of wind that danced across a bare scalp whispered, "You have returned."